So, this is a video that's just to try and make you aware of a few things and ask yourself a few questions before you go to getting the banjo and maybe plunging in on the spur of the moment, you know. So the first question you should ask yourself sounds basic, but why do I want to learn a musical instrument? You know, why do you want to learn to play music? You know, it might sound obvious, like I suppose we're all used to listening to music, we see people playing music, it's a nice thing to do, you know. I mean, if you are absolutely sure that, you know, you want to do that, but it's worth just asking yourself, just pondering that for a quick second, you know. The next question then is, why do I want to learn the banjo? You know, I mean, maybe you've heard someone playing the banjo, you just like the sound of the banjo, that's fair enough. Is that a good enough reason to learn the banjo? A couple of things you might want to consider is, you know, what sort of music do you see yourself learning? You know, what sort of music do you want to end up being able to play? Do you sing? Do you want to accompany yourself singing? You know, for instance, if you prefer singing rock songs or pop songs or something like that, and you want to back yourself singing, the tenor banjo wouldn't be the best choice. You know, so you'd be better off learning a guitar, you know, things like that, you know. If you wanted to learn classical music, you know, it wouldn't be your best choice. So you could ask yourself that, you know, what sort of music is it you want to learn? Because just liking the sound of the banjo wouldn't mean it was the best route to take. And then if you do decide, you know, well, you want to learn one of these musics that I'm going to speak about now, what the banjo is suitable for, really. There's two different types of banjo, predominantly anyway, and you have a 4-string and a 5-string. So if, for instance, you've heard dueling banjos on the film Deliverance, that's a 5-string banjo, that's bluegrass music. So if you're used to listening to American music, bluegrass music, you would be better off learning the 5-string banjo. The tenor banjo would be suited to Dixieland jazz or Irish music. So in my case, and what I'd be teaching would be really, you know, well, you learn to play the tenor banjo, but I'm teaching it through the Irish music genre. So if you narrow it down like that, then you decide, yes, this is, you know, the music I want to play. So you can decide then, if it's bluegrass, you can go for, you know, if it's banjo at all to begin with, then you decide if it's bluegrass, I'll go for 5-string. If it's Dixieland jazz or Irish music, I'll go for 4-string. And then the next thing is, of course, you know, do you realise what learning music entails? So as the saying goes, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So you've got to be prepared for a long-term approach to it, and you've got to be willing to put in time consistently over a period of time. You know, months, years, whatever. You know, I mean, you'll get results before years, but you know, it is an ongoing thing then, and you will continue to learn for as long as you want to. So you've got to be prepared for that as well. It's not a quick fix. It's not something you have on your bucket list and you say, I'll learn that next week and I'll do that. It's not that kind of a thing. So you've got to be prepared for that. And do you have, you know, the patience for it? You know, are you going to, because you need to be able to enjoy the process of it, the journey of it, getting to know the instrument, getting to know music, learning things, and you know, as opposed to just kind of wanting to get to the end result. So that attitude or approach won't work with music. So that's another thing you need to ask yourself. And the answers to these questions will mean, you know, whether you decide, do I want to learn music at all, or would I be better off learning something else or taking up a different hobby. You know, if you didn't realise it was a long-term thing, you're not going to get results like this. Anything you see online or anything that says, you know, learn how to play a song today, I mean, you know, technically could you do it? You know, probably depending on the person, but would you ever be able to play music anyway properly at all? No. So that's the other thing, and so answering those questions will lead you to the conclusion of, do you want to learn music? What type of music do you see yourself playing, and what instruments suits that best? And then you can proceed from there. You know, and be aware of those things before you jump in and buy instruments, etc. So the next thing then is, what do you need, you know, going forward to start learning? So you need a banjo. You have to have a banjo. You have to be able to, yeah, I mean, if you're going to someone for lessons and they're showing you on a banjo, that's no good. You have to go home. You have to be able to practice. You have to be able to play, and you have to have an instrument there to get to know it. So you need that. You need a tuner, an electronic tuner. I say need. You could possibly get by without one, but you'd end up having to tune your instrument by ear. And when you're starting off learning music, you can't assume that your ear is going to be, you know, developed or accurate enough to do that. So you really do need an electronic tuner. Or you're living with someone who can tune the instrument for you or something like that, okay, fair enough. But really, I recommend you have an electronic tuner. You need a pick or a couple of picks. These pick or plectrum, they're called, a little plastic thing which you hit the strings with. And there's different varieties of them, but I've done a separate little video about that, so you can watch that. So you need one or two of those when you decide on which one of those to use. I'll make a couple of recommendations in my other video. You need that. You need spare strings, because your banjo will probably come with a set of strings on it, but if by some chance one breaks, you know, you can't continue your lessons. So you'd really need your banjo with the strings on it and a spare set of strings. And I have a separate video about strings and gauges and stuff like that as well, so we can deal with that there. And a metronome is, you don't need it, but it's possibly a good option to have one. A metronome is something that just makes a click sound in an exact tempo, so you go click, 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 and you play to that, and you can set it at a tempo that it goes from slow to fast, and you set it where you're able to play based on the lessons you'll be doing, and the time of each note and stuff like that. Then you can measure out in equal amounts as you play, so that you get a level, even playing, and you play to that. It's also handy in the sense that if you get to a point where you're doing an exercise, like say it's just, and then you get good at or comfortable at that, and you want to move on, and your click is gone click, 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 or whatever. You can set up the click, click, and then you try to play to that. But you have the click there, or the sound to go by, so that you know you're still going even level. It's not, as I say, necessary, but it's something that if you want it, you can get electronic ones and all now quite cheap. So it's, you know, it's something that you could consider having, but it's not necessary. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is choosing a teacher, and that's important, because if you decide, you know, it's Irish music you want to learn, there's no point in just going out and getting a tenor banjo teacher and he's, you know, influences jazz music. It won't be as beneficial to you. So you choose a teacher, and also then when you find a teacher, let's say you want to learn Irish traditional music, you find a tenor banjo teacher who teaches Irish traditional music, and you want to satisfy yourself that they're a good teacher. You know, hear them playing, you know, look and see, can you find that they've taught people before, or they've got some sort of history in it that it makes sense to say, yes, this person will be able to teach me. Because when you start going to that person, then you need to be able to trust that whatever they're telling you is the right thing to do, and that you're confident that if you do it, you'll, you know, learn how to play and make progress. You know, because if you don't, and you start doubting your teacher then, and you don't start doing what they're doing, then you're kind of on your own with it again, or going down another route, and you don't want to start picking up bad habits and all that sort of stuff. So satisfy yourself first that you've found a good teacher for what it is you want to do with the banjo. And I mean, what I'm saying here, and all my lessons and my course, you know, it's just it's my way of doing it. It's my opinion about things I've picked up through the years, through different people's teachings and stuff like that, learning myself and learning different things, and just some conclusions I've came to. And you'll see more about that in my other videos and stuff. But it's by no means the only way or anything like that. There's plenty of good banjo players and good banjo teachers out there. There's plenty of stuff online, plenty of stuff on YouTube, you know, and some great people doing some great things, teaching the tenor banjo. And so by all means, look around at all of that stuff and decide for yourself what you think. You know, another person's approach might suit you better, or whatever you get a good feel for. And then make a decision for yourself with what you want to do and who you want to study with, and then commit to that and you know, start your journey. Now, I just wanted to talk for a couple of minutes now about how you would use the course if you decided to use my course. How you would use it. Now, just a quick word first. There are different ways. Like you can get one-on-one lessons in person with a teacher. I probably think that's the best way to learn, you know, because the teacher's there and you can see what you're doing and immediately correct you or steer you in the right direction, stuff like that. Another way then is learning in a class. You know, you go to Colts Sciatorian or somewhere like that does classes and teaches the tenor banjo, where you might have 4 or 5 or 10 or whatever people, students in the class, and you learn still personal, you know, kind of, it's not one-on-one, but it's still in person, and you can ask questions immediately and get answers, that sort of thing. The other way then is you can buy a book, you know, our book plus DVD, tutors. I don't think they're a great way to learn. I think there's so much to music, and that's why I developed this course. There's so much to music that someone who is a complete beginner and doesn't know anything about music or the instrument they're going to learn, I think there's too much for them to take in and really know, am I doing this right? Is this, you know? So you need some sort of detailed instruction. Then you can do online things where you know, you sign in and watch lessons being streamed. You know, that's another possibility, similar to what I'm doing, I suppose. Why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it in a series of videos and lessons, and the particular approach, which again I talk about in other videos, so I won't go on about it here. But why I doing it that way is you can access the video, download the video, access it, look at it several times, whenever and wherever. You don't have to be online, whatever like that, and you know, study that first. And I again give instruction about how you should go about that when we get to the lessons. So that's the first thing I just wanted to say. But when you if you do decide to do the course, then you use the video and the sheet. You know, read the sheet, watch the video. There's going to be the video is a kind of a backup of the sheet, but again, you're seeing and hearing me or seeing me do something on it, as opposed to just reading it and you know, talking about different things and sounds and stuff. So that's it. So do them, study both of them and really know what's in it. If there's anything you don't understand, you know, find that out before you go forward. There shouldn't be, because I feel it's all pretty well explained in it. But if there isn't, you can always email me or something like that. Now, practice and know each lesson before you move on to another one. That's another stage in how to use the course. You know, so you get lesson 1, make sure you consume that, know everything in it, and feel completely comfortable in every way, in your head, on the banjo, whatever it is, before you move on. That there isn't anything there that you need to learn. Because if you leave it and go back to it tomorrow, do you pick it up and you're going, yes, or you go, what was that? So if you are, then you need to look at that again and see what that is. So you should know that completely inside out before you move on. Then move on to the next lesson. Take it slow. There's absolutely no set speed or targets that you have to reach. I mean, you have to progress, we know that, but you one of the reasons I developed this course is because I feel people are different, and one person mightn't be able to do in a week what another person can do in a week. So if it takes you 2 weeks to do something, that's perfectly fine. If you can do it in 2 days, and you absolutely, you're not kidding yourself that you're doing it, like that you can, based on looking at the video and everything, you know for a fact you're doing it and you're finding it easy, that's fine, you can move faster. So it's not necessarily that it has to be a slow course, it depends, but the real thing is that you can do it at your speed, so the individual speed. So the main thing is when you're learning first is to go slow. Don't try and jump ahead on it, and don't start doing things and doing them wrong. You make sure you're doing whatever it says in the lesson or the instruction. You make sure you're doing it and doing it correctly based on what you've read and what you've looked at in the video. And then however long it takes you to do that and do those movements and get that position, etc., that's how long it takes. You don't set yourself I'm not doing that fast enough, or I want. Or if you start doing the down up, that you're going, I have to do that faster, and you start tensing up, and you don't do that. You stay relaxed, you go slow, you do it right, and you repeat it and keep practicing it. So that's the thing about practicing slowly. Now, because the most common mistake is actually to go too fast, so don't be worried about going slow. Now, I just going to read through a couple of things that I had written down here. Always play at a speed which enables you to play correctly. So that's more or less what I've just said. A correct technique plus repetition equals speed. You will get faster at doing it, but what you do is you do the technique properly and you repeat that. And it can be tedious, but that's the whole idea of it. But the thing is, it's tedious and slow at the beginning stage, but that's when you need to lay down the foundations and get your technique good. If you don't, then you're 2 months, 3 months down the line and you're wondering why you can't do something, and well, that's why. So it's the most important stage where you lay down that solid foundation of technique, and the way to do that is to practice that technique slowly and correctly and repeat it. You have to repeat it a lot. Now, always be relaxed. So don't tense up, you need to breathe, you need to, and just your hands are floppy, you're not gripping the banjo, you're not digging in here or tensing up, and it's not that sort of a thing. So always be relaxed, that's the idea of getting a good position as well. So be relaxed on your hand, you get down, and then it doesn't need a lot of force to do that. You've just to strike the string, you've just to get that string down like a 1/16 of an inch onto the fret. So be relaxed, always stay relaxed, always remember to breathe. Now, tension destroys technique and inhibits speed and flow, so that's why you stay relaxed. But do practice consistently every day, as much as you can comfortably fit in to your day without getting fed up with practicing or without your fingers getting sore. At the very start of when you're learning to play, your tips of your fingers will not be used to this, and possibly they're soft. Most likely the skin is quite tender on them. When you start pressing this, they're steel strings, when you start pressing them down, depending on which practice you're doing, they are going to get sore. If you do too much, they will get sore. So if you start to feel them getting sore, ease off, leave it for the day, or then the next day go back and let them condition into it. So do that, because if you don't and they get too sore and they blister, then you've got a problem, because you won't be able to play then, and then you've kind of stopped yourself in your tracks. Like you're going to wait 2 weeks till your fingers heal and go back at it again. So you're going to set yourself back if you do that, so don't do that. Now, always go through the previous lessons when you're practicing. So if you've gotten up to lesson 5, and this is particularly important at the starting stage, because you're trying to develop a routine or a feel and a regime of what you do, and how you feel with the banjo and getting comfortable with it. So always go back to lesson one, you know, getting your position of the banjo, getting the position of your hands, making sure you're in a chair or a place where it's comfortable and conducive to practice. You know, you're not lying back in a sofa where you can't do your position properly. So things like that, and then start from the start. Lesson one, go through it, even read through a few of the simple lessons first. It's a slow process, but what you're doing is you're getting to the stage where when you take the banjo out, you automatically put it, you know, where so you can feel it. It's got, you know, your hand goes here, and then after a while. But at first, that won't happen. You'll get the banjo out and you'll forget, and you might put here, or you're forgetting and you put your hand up here, or, you know. So you train yourself by going through all the stages. So go through previous lessons until it becomes second nature and until it becomes a habit. So go through all of them, start at the start, you're on your 4 or 5. I'm talking about the first 10 lessons here really. You know, once you get past that, if you've done the work, it should really kind of be becoming a habit at that stage and a you know, a natural feel. So that's just another thing. And then you develop your practice regime is what I'm saying there. So you would, you know, start from lesson one, you'll take your banjo out, you'll have your seat before you even do that. You know, you'll take your banjo out, you get your banjo, if you sit it here, you'll do that, you say yes, that's where I sit that, and check yourself on it. Say yes, my hand's in here, you have my accents, the strings in the right place, as you will have learned all of this. You know, is my hand right here, is the pick right in my hand, and all of those things, and go through them, kind of have a checklist of like 1 to 6 or 1 to 10 or whatever it works out at. And then when you do that, then you'll have read through your lessons before you do that, say, and then when you go to the practical side, you do that. You get to the stage where you're at that, you have your sheet, your current sheet in front of you, or if you want to go through previous exercises that you know in your head, go through them slowly, come up to your current one, and then go ahead. And you do that, as I say, it's only for the first maybe 10 lessons or so where you're really developing this, you're trying to brainwash yourself into this and develop a really good habit. So after that, it won't be this tedious forever. Now, just a couple of sayings that are worth a mention and might stick in your head and are worth thinking about, that I've heard along the line through the years somewhere. Unfortunately, I can't remember or credit the people who've said them, but some wise people have come up with these sayings, and they're good ones to have in your head. It's easier to create good habits now than break bad habits later. It's very true. You know, I mean, if you pick up a bad habit and you're 2 months, 3 months down the line with it, it's much harder to undo that and then do what you should have done in the first place anyway, which is learn a new one. Paul Simon had it in a song, it's easier to learn than unlearn. And it's true, if we really learn something, it's very hard to maybe months or a year down the line think, oh, I need to change that because now you're maybe doing more difficult music and it's getting in your way. And that leads to kind of the next one. If you rehearse mistakes or bad habits, you get good at them. It's like rehearsing doing something good. So if you practice a good technique, you get good at it. If you do it right, you do the technique right, and you use repetition slowly, you get good at it. Anything we do, you know. I mean, so if you do the same with a bad habit or a bad technique, you get good at that as well, and you don't want that. So that one, if you rehearse mistakes, you get good at them. And the next saying is practice slow, learn fast. So although it seems like a slow process to be going, and what you're doing that slow is you're making sure you're doing it right. You're doing the movements right based on what you will learn and not what you're looking at here. But in the lessons, when you learn something, that's why you do it slow. But doing it slow, you're actually learning fast, because if you don't do it right and slow, as slow as you need to do it right, what happens is down the line you've developed a bad habit, and then actually you've delayed yourselves because you're 2 months down now. You still have to go back and learn proper technique if you really want to move ahead with learning music. So you're really practicing fast or pushing yourself on speed. You're slowing down your learning, and by practicing slow, learning fast. So there's the three sayings there to keep in mind. It's easier to create good habits than break bad habits later. If you rehearse mistakes, you get good at them, and practice slow, learn fast. Okay. Now the purpose or the goal of the course is to teach students, beginners who don't know anything about the banjo or music, to be able to play the banjo, to learn proper technique, to learn about music theory, and to enable them by the end of it to be at what I'd call beginner intermediate level, where they've got enough knowledge of music and the banjo and technique to be able to learn other music by themselves and progress themselves through what I would say intermediate level, to be able to do quite a lot of music and learn a lot of tunes and stuff like that, and be able to even approach learning, another key, because the basics of how it all works. So be able to really progress quite a lot after that. I actually don't think you'd really need lessons after that. You might need to sit with someone or pick something up off someone or study a technique on YouTube or another player, or I'm going to have some advanced tutorials down the line as well, stuff like that. But really the purpose is, or the goal of this course is to take you from beginner to where you're enabled to be able to go forward and teach yourself other stuff and evolve yourself as a player. Now, one thing I want to say about the course, this course, if you would decide to use it, that's fine. If you want to go another way, that's, you've got to do what you think it seems like a good idea, or go with someone who you feel, is a good fit for you. The idea of this course and why I've developed this in this particular way, it's based on different techniques and principles from different disciplines of teaching that I've come across through the years, and through teaching myself years ago, I found I was making the mistake of giving people too much too soon, and when they weren't able to cope with it, I just thought it was down to them, maybe, that or whatever, they just weren't cut out for music or something like that. But what I actually think now is that mostly in teaching, or in when we're learning an instrument like that, very often in a lot of ways that it's taught, you actually get too much and too soon, and that's what I did myself years ago, and I came across some different ideas about it, and through, as I say, stuff I've done myself, I developed this course to be very easy steps, going at its slowest from the beginning, to introduce you to it's a whole new process. It's a new instrument, music's new, reading music, using your hands, how you use them, everything about it is something that you've not done before if you're a beginner, and so I try to break it down to the very, very basic steps of just getting to know about the music first, the banjo, the movements, the positions, everything, and move up. So that what I believe is that if you do that, you're creating that foundation in a better way, and I believe that's going to benefit you in the long term. It's a slow approach, step-by-step approach like that, building, going at slowest at the start, building up. Then things do speed up, and if you've done the groundwork, then that won't be a problem. That's how it should naturally occur. But the other thing about it is, for someone who wants to learn, and you occasionally come across someone who's just got a lot of aptitude for something, or a lot of talent, and if you are someone like that and you get it and you find, oh, that's simple, I know that, or you're someone with a great memory and you remember everything, you're able to do things like that, that's fine. And the beauty of this course is you can move forward at your own pace then. If you do that, the danger with that is that you are actually making an accurate assessment on that, and you make your judgment and move forward based on is studying the videos and the sheets and being sure that by looking at the video and what I'm doing or whatever, you are actually right, you have mastered that, you are moving on. You say justify your moving faster with the results of what you've done. But either way, once you do that, then you can continue to move forward at whichever pace and whichever person you are and whichever suits you. You go at your own pace and move forward. In the end, you know, you could be someone who's going slow now, and you could actually be going faster down the line and pass out someone who goes fast now. So it doesn't really mean anything. You know, we all have different abilities, and we all can go at different speeds, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, the purpose of it at the end of the day is for you to learn the instrument and enjoy it. So you know, that's the way to do that, and you'll be making progress either way. And the last thing then I'd like to say is, for you, the student, you know, what your role is in all of this. Well, it's actually the most important role. I mean, a teacher can only say to you, you know, this is how you do this on a banjo or whatever, or this is what you do. Really, it's what you do at home. It's all about the time you spend on the instrument or with the instrument, you know. So the more time you have this instrument here in your hands, feeling it, holding it, doing very small, anything at all that's, you know, making sure you're doing the right repetition. The more you do that, the more you practice, the better you get at it. And your role is, you know, to study the sheet, study the video, study the lesson, in other words, and make sure you read it all, make sure you know what it means, and make sure and take it step by step, bit by bit. And at your very first lesson, at the very start, watch all the free tutorials first as well, and at the very start of at the first lesson, be prepared to be going at your slowest. Even if it seems insignificant or silly to you, don't just say, well, is it, or, you know, do I understand this, what is going on here? Okay, yeah. And then until you're completely comfortable, go at your slowest on the first lesson. Then you decide after a few days or a week or whatever, 2 weeks, whatever, that, yeah, I'm comfortable with that now. I'm comfortable with the banjo and what it is, and you need to understand the banjo and what it is as well. So there's a lot to take in. And when you do, then you decide, no, I think I could go on to lesson 2. Well, then go through lesson 1 again and do all that and think, yeah, no, I am comfortable with that. And then do the very same thing with lesson 2 and go through all of that. So go to the same. And when you get to that stage with that, then you want to move on to lesson 3. Go back through 1 and 2 again and go slowly through it. Read them, even have them when you're not doing your rehearsal, have your sheets around and be reading and, you know, absorbing the theory or whatever it is, and go slowly like that and build up that regime. But the onus on you is, as the student, is to do that and do it correctly and go very accurately by the instruction in the lessons, and go slowly and follow what's being, you know, what the outline of the method is. And if you do that, there's no reason why you shouldn't achieve good results. Thank you.